Welcome to While We Were Distracted, the podcast where we explore topics that often get overshadowed in the rush of daily life.
Today, we're wading into something, well, truly fascinating. It's a topic that really forces you to look beyond the usual boundaries of biology and physics.
It absolutely does. The sources you've shared with us, they span everything from, what was once called paranormal research right up to cutting-edge optogenetics.
And it all seems to argue for a complete rethinking of what connection even means.
Exactly. We're looking at verifiable, reproducible experiments suggesting that our focused consciousness, our DNA, and even the planet's own electromagnetic rhythm are all linked. And not in some vague spiritual way, but in a very specific, measurable, ultra-low frequency band.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive. We need to unpack that research. First, we'll get into how our intention, our emotions can physically change DNA.
Right. And then there's the Earth's natural electrical pulse, the Schumann resonance,
which acts as a kind of timing signal for all life. And then finally, we have to confront what happens when our modern human-made electromagnetic fields, EMFs, crash that party.
And the thing that ties it all together, the real starting point, is this one incredible observation. Researchers found that the electrical fields from our DNA, the alpha waves from our brain, and the Earth's natural resonance all operate in the exact same frequency window.
Right around 7 to 8 hertz.
That's the one. That overlap is the key to everything else we're going to talk about.
It's the perfect place to start. So the bioelectric body and intention, a lot of this work trying to put healing intention into a hard scientific context, started back in the 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah, with researchers like Dr. Declan Rain at places like the Heart Math Institute.
And what were they looking at?
They were looking at how conscious intention, when it's directed at isolated biological systems, in this case cultured tumor cells, might have an effect.
So they were testing if just good vibes or love could do something versus a really focused mental command.
That's exactly it. And the distinction they found was, well, it was stark.
So what happened? Did just generating a feeling of unconditional love have any impact on the DNA and the culture?
Absolutely none. Zero measurable effect on the rate of DNA synthesis.
Wow. Okay, so that immediately tells you this isn't about your general mood.
No, it's about directed focus. It's about intentionality.
So if a generalized emotion didn't work, what about, say, a focused mental image, like a healer actually visualizing fewer cells in the dish?
When they did that, when they used mental imagery to reduce growth, DNA synthesis was inhibited by about 18%. But here's the kicker. When the healer, a man named Lou Childer, focused his intention not on destroying, but on willing the cells to return to the natural order and harmony of their normal growth rate.
The inhibition rate was?
A massive 39%.
Yeah.
That level of control is it's breathtaking.
That's a huge jump. It proves the content of the intention really matters. And this was all on isolated DNA, right? So the signal wasn't traveling through nerves or blood. It was non-local.
Correct. Isolated DNA strands in water, in aqueous solutions. And they could make the DNA helix wind or unwind locally in the lab, but they also replicated the effect.
At a distance.
At a distance of half a mile.
Wait, half a mile? How does that even work? I mean, that seems to defy traditional physics where electrical fields drop off so quickly.
And that's where we have to bring in Nobel laureate Dr. Luc Montagnier's work from 2010. It might provide a mechanism.
What did he find?
He found that DNA isn't static. It emits an ultra-low frequency electromagnetic signal that carries its genetic information. And the shocking part was that this signal, this blueprint, could be stored in pure water.
So you're saying water can essentially memorize the electromagnetic blueprint of our DNA?
Precisely. And here is the most critical detail for our conversation. Montagnier found they could use that informed water to recreate the original DNA sequence, but only if the ambient electromagnetic environment was kept above a frequency of 7 hertz.
7 hertz. There it is again.
Below that frequency, the process just failed.
And our bodies are, 65% water? So this suggests a mechanism mediated by water that links our DNA directly to our environment through these very specific low frequencies.
Yes, though we should just quickly clarify, DNA is doing a couple of things. It emits high-frequency biophotons up in the 10 to the 15th hertz range.
Right.
But the conscious effects we're talking about, the intentionality that's undeniably linked to those low-frequency brainwaves, the alpha and mu waves that start right at that 7 hertz threshold.
Which is the perfect bridge to part 2. If our consciousness works there and our DNA responds there, what is creating that signal out in the world? And the answer is the Schumann resonance.
The Schumann resonances, or SR, they're basically global standing waves of electromagnetic energy They exist in the extremely low frequency, or ELF, band.
And they're created in that huge cavity between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere, the electrically charged upper atmosphere.
And the power source is constant. It's the 50 or so lightning strikes that happen every single second around the globe. They're constantly ringing the Earth like a giant bell.
And that fundamental note it rings at is 7.83 hertz.
Yes, with harmonics at 14.3 hertz, 20.8 hertz, and so on. And that band is a near-perfect match for our own brain's alpha and theta rhythms.
Which led researchers to propose that the SR acts as a, what's the German word? A Zeitgeber?
A Zeitgeber. It means time giver or synchronizer.
Yeah.
The idea is the Earth isn't just making noise, it's providing a planetary rhythm that biology is hardwired to detect.
And we have proof of this, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Studies show that exposing brain tissue to these ULF signals alters how calcium ions move, which is how cells talk to each other. They've even used Schumann-like frequencies in labs to regulate human circadian rhythms. It's clear proof the brain is tuned into this signal.
But the signal isn't static, it fluctuates, and those fluctuations are tied directly to space weather.
That's where solar and geomagnetic activity (SGMA) comes in. Things like sunspots, solar flares. The intensity and frequency of the SR are highly correlated with all of that.
So the physics is pretty straightforward then. Solar activity changes the ionosphere.
Right, the D region of the ionosphere.
Which is basically the ceiling of this resonant cavity.
Exactly. It's like a giant drum skin. If the solar wind changes the tension on that drum skin, the note it produces, the Schumann resonance, changes with it.
That's a great analogy.
And the effects of a big geomagnetic event aren't just a flash in the pan. They can persist, subtly changing the SR intensity for 6 or 7 days after.
So what's so incredible is how these two huge fields of research-conscious intention on DNA and planetary physics, they just converge perfectly at that 7 to 8 hertz window.
It's the missing link.
Yeah.
And we have modern validation for it. New research in optogenetics has successfully demonstrated that human alpha and mu brainwaves, generated by a person using a commercial brain-computer interface.
So just by thinking,
They can modify gene expression in living tissue. In mice, in this case.
that's physical proof of that electromagnetic conversation between the brain and DNA at that exact frequency. It gives a plausible mechanism for things once dismissed as right? Like psychokinesis.
Precisely. If our brains operate on the same channel as the Earth's standing wave, it provides a medium for non-local interaction. The theory suggests our mu rhythm brainwaves could interfere with the Schumann resonance.
Constructively or destructively.
Right, potentially explaining things like telepathy or psychokinesis over a distance.
And there's that bizarre historical anecdote about Aleister Crowley.
Yeah, it's a strange one. He claimed he once made a banker walking in front of him just fall down
Oh.
by synchronizing his own steps with the man and then feigning a fall himself, all while focusing his intention on the back of the banker's motor cortex.
It sounds like magic.
It does, but in this context, the scientific proposition is that he was tapping into the mirror neuron system, using focused intention to interfere with the banker's mu rhythm through that shared channel, the SR.
Causing a physical collapse.
Exactly. It's the difference between seeing a ghost and seeing the physics.
So we have this delicate internal system operating in perfect harmony with the planet, but now we have to talk about the interference, the massive intrusion of human-made EMFs.
From cell phones, Wi-Fi, power lines, and crucially, these fields are thousands, sometimes 1,000,000 times stronger than the natural SR signal.
And the key mechanism for damage here isn't about heat, is it? It's non-thermal. It's something called ion-forced oscillation.
That is a mouthful, isn't it? Let's break that down.
Please, what's happening inside our cells when they're hit by one of these artificial fields?
Okay, so think of a powerful polarized radio wave shaking the molecular machinery of your cells. It forces mobile ions, calcium, potassium, sodium to oscillate, to shake irregularly.
And these are the ions that regulate everything in the cell.
Everything. The problem starts at the cell membrane's gatekeepers, the voltage-gated ion channels, or VGICs.
The little doors that let things in and out.
Right. And they're only supposed to open when the cell needs to transfer energy or communicate.
Yeah.
But when the EMFs force the ions to shake irregularly, they slam these gates open at the wrong times, disrupting the entire electrochemical balance of the cell.
So the gates are just stuck open and the system gets flooded.
Exactly. And that flooding results in the uncontrolled production of reactive oxygen species, ROS, which are basically highly destructive free radicals.
And they go straight for the DNA.
Instantly. They attack and damage the DNA structure, leading to cell death and, over time, to neurodegenerative diseases and cancer.
And the sources point out specific design flaws in our man-made fields that make them especially bioactive.
They do. First, bioactivity is proportional to intensity, but it's inversely proportional to frequency.
So lower frequencies are predicted to be more bioactive. That feels counterintuitive. Why would a slower wave be more damaging?
Think about pushing a child on a swing. A million tiny rapid taps, a high frequency, won't do much, but a few strong, slow pushes time to the swing's natural rhythm.
We'll send it soaring.
Exactly. Our biological systems are tuned to those low resonant frequencies, which makes them far more sensitive to disruption in that range.
And the second flaw is about how the signals are sent. They're pulsed.
Yes. Pulsed fields, like those in all modern wireless tech, are predicted to be twice as bioactive as a continuous field of the same intensity. The pulsing itself creates extremely low-frequency components, like the 8.34 hertz modulation in some mobile tech.
Which falls right into that bioactive 7 to 8 hertz window, the one our bodies are resonant with.
It's a perfect storm.
Which brings this all together. How do these natural and man-made fields influence a core part of our health? The melatonin connection.
Right. Melatonin is critical for sleep and protecting our cells, and it's highly sensitive to EMFs. The sources show that natural SGMA events, which disrupt the Schumann resonance, significantly reduce our melatonin levels.
So when the Earth's natural pulse gets distorted by the sun, our key protective hormone drops.
Which is linked directly to increased risks for cardiac issues, neurological problems, even cancer. And we have therapeutic confirmation of this. Treatments for disorders like Parkinson's and MS have successfully used low-power magnetic fields modulated right at that 7 hertz frequency to correct these melatonin-related problems. It confirms that 7 hertz isn't just a curiosity, it's a necessary input for our health.
Before we close out, we should probably touch on the other narratives you see online about the Schumann resonance. People see spikes or whiteouts on the spectrograms.
Oh, right.
And they interpret it as global consciousness shifts or, time speeding up. The 16-hour day claim.
Yeah, the scientific community is very clear on this. Those bright vertical lines on the charts are almost always local, powerful lightning strikes overloading the sensors, or they're just data gaps.
Yeah.
The length of a day fluctuates by milliseconds, not hours. It's really important to separate the genuine bioelectromagnetic physics from internet mythology.
So if we pull all of these threads together, what is the single unified takeaway for now?
I think the sources suggest we are exquisitely, beautifully tuned to our planet's fundamental frequency, that's 7.83 hertz. This low-frequency connection seems to be central not just to healthy DNA function, but to consciousness itself. It's resonance physics proving we are not separate from our environment.
So if our focused intention can alter DNA through these incredibly weak fields, and powerful man-made fields can disrupt our cells in that exact same frequency window, then the real question isn't if we're connected electromagnetically, it's how we distinguish between the life-affirming resonance and the disruptive noise. You might want to think about how often your own attention is focused on generating internal harmony versus just adding to the external noise.
That's a powerful thought to carry with you, especially into a world that is only getting louder, electrically speaking.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for the next episode on While We Were Distracted.